Hey guys, welcome to day 3 of Move and Meditate. I hope you are all doing well. Take a moment to just thank yourself for being here and showing up, turning on this video without doing anything else. We'll begin our practice today in a comfortable seated position, so come to make your way down to the ground or onto your chair. And as we meet here, close down your eyes or lower your gaze. Begin to lengthen a little more through the spine, dropping shoulders down away from the ears. Find a soft wiggle in your fingers and toes to just release any gripping or holding in this space. And as we come to stillness, enjoy a full breath in through your nose, feel the belly, the lungs. Open your mouth, sigh it out and let it go. We'll do it one more just in case you missed that. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Arrive with your own breath in its own rhythm, floating in and out through your nose, just like how waves come in and out of the shore. Has our relationship with our breath changed in any way from when we first practiced day 1? Whether it has or hasn't, we're simply inviting ourselves to investigate, but without judgment, instead bringing kindness and curiosity. With today's practice being a more lower body focused practice, we'll be opening through our hips, strengthening through the quads and the glutes. Can we pay attention to this space in particular? Observe what we have shown up on our mat like. And ask, how can I move in a way today that serves me as I am? Smile in appreciation for you as you are. And find one last breath here. As you wiggle fingers and toes, option here to flutter the eyes open. If you're on a chair, make your way down to the ground as we find a variation of our cross-legged seat, but instead of having the ankles or calves crossed, we'll bring one leg directly in front of the other. So we almost have a bit of space here between both legs. And as our fingertips drop down to the ground, lift up tall and hinge from the hips. Maybe the fingertips crawl a little further forward. Intention here is to bring our belly down towards our heels. So automatically setting in this idea of resisting the round and reach approach and inviting lovely long length instead. Keep folding as fingertips walk over to the left side, opening through the right side body a little more. And then walking fingertips over towards the right side. Keep your lower body grounding down heavily to the earth. As we float to center, lift up and swap legs. So bring the opposite leg in front, normally the one that feels a little bit different. It certainly does for me. Fingertips come to the ground and walk forwards. Nice. Notice the difference potentially between one side and the next. Send your fingertips over towards the right side. Breathing softly as we walk hands over to the left side. And as we come on back to center, lifting your way up and extending the legs out in front of you. Take any prop to one side as we give the legs a nice wiggle. And as we scoop them around, come to a tabletop position with the toes tucked under. And start to set up in your tabletop, nice and tension in the hands as we spread the fingers. But as we sit hips back to the heels, we'll start to roll around in one direction. Awakening through the spinal space, but also sending lots of love to the feet as we sit back, the wrists as we roll forwards, the forearms, the hands. The shoulders and hips are getting a wake up here. So I invite you to move just in any way that feels good. Take what you need. Send your movement in the opposite direction. Don't forget to get the head and neck involved. And as you float your way back to tabletop, keep the toes tucked under and press through the palms a little more. Lift away from the ground as we hover the knees off the earth, just a couple inches. Explore that connection of knitting belly button up toward the spine, awareness in our deep abdominal wall. From here, extend both legs, find a high plank. We can drop the knees down too if we need to. And then walk it forward to your hovering tabletop. We'll do this a couple more times. Extend the legs, breathe. Walking forwards. And extend away. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the knees can come down as we make our way to the earth. Find our belly to cobra. And as we sit up, tuck the toes under, hips to the heels, arms reach forward, send the tailbone high, downward facing dog. Meet here, have a wiggle, a pedal. Keep in mind the breath. And then walking hands back to the feet. We'll find Uttanasana, our forward fold, towards the back of our mat. Big bend in the knees. Keep the arms, head and neck heavy as we swing from side to side. Start to spread the toes a little more on the earth. Ground down through both feet. As we come to center, nice and slow, roll up to standing, restack the spine. Find mountain pose. As we arrive here, roll the shoulders back a couple of times. And on your next inhale, we'll find our standing cat-cows. As we reach the arms back, open the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale to round through spine, roll it through, palms together, chin to chest. Twice more with your own breath, wave through the spine. All the way from tailbone up towards the neck space. And as you float your way back to center, inhale, reach the arms wide and high. Exhale, dive all the way down to your fold. This time, walk the feet a little wider and turn the toes out to about 10 and 2 position. As we bend our knees, we'll keep our knees rolling away from the midline of the mat as they track over the feet, and we sit a little lower into our Malasana yogi squat. Don't worry if the heels come off the earth. If we have some form of longish prop or even, 2 props, 2 pillows, whatever, we can bring them underneath our heels here for a little added support. However, we're not going to be in stillness for too long. So fingertips can be on the ground or we can reach them forward. Wherever we are, keep attention with the spine lengthening. And then adding movement as we shift the weight from side to side. Just warming up through the lower body, hip space, ankles, feet. And as you make your way back to center, lengthen the legs, fold forwards, and walk the hands to the earth. Come to your downward facing dog. And either stay here for our transition or bring both knees down to the ground and transition from tabletop like we've explored in our practice so far. So as we lift our left leg off the mat, we'll bend our knee, curl it all the way up towards the left armpit space, and then lightly step it forward. From here, back foot pivots to the ground, toes turn out to 2 o'clock, and we rise straight up to warrior 2. Left fingertips reach forward, right reaches back, settle through the shoulders. In warrior 2, we're rolling our inner thighs away from one another. So our front knee might want to dial toward the midline, but we'll keep it actively pressing away using our little glute muscles here to turn that leg out. Stay in warrior 2 for one more breath. And then turning our front toes towards the right side of the mat. Step in line and find a wide-legged stance with the toes facing forward but very, very slightly in so that we can really root through the outer edges of both feet. And as our hands come to our hips, lift up tall and start to hinge, keeping the spine long. Only go as far as we can until we notice our spine wanting to round and collapse. That might be here, here, or here. And if we have the space, maybe we bring the hands down to the ground or even lift up onto some props to bring the ground up to us. Take one more breath where you are here. And then slowly begin to rise all the way up. Pivot your left toes forward again, arms open, warrior 2. And then cartwheel hands down to the ground. Step back to your downward dog or tabletop position. Find a breath here. And then reach right leg off the mat. Extend through the heel and then bend the knee. Curl it all the way up towards the right armpit and step it through. Pivot left foot to the ground. Rise, warrior 2. Find your sturdy foundation through both feet, energetically reaching through fingertips. Drop the shoulders. Take a couple more breaths here. And then as our right toes pivot over to the left side, we'll step our feet in line and prepare for our wide-legged stance. Fingertips come to the hips as we hinge forward. Option to reach the arms down onto props or to the earth. Breathe wherever you are. Keep the knees rolling and pressing away from the midline of the mat. And as we rise all the way up, pivot your right toes forward, reach the arms to warrior 2, and then cartwheel the hands down to the ground. Step back, down dog or tabletop, and then everybody come to meet in a plank position. So roll forward, shoulders stack on top of the wrists, knees can be lifted or lowered, make your way down to the ground. Open your heart space. And as you release, press up and back to a downward facing dog, meeting here. Nice. From down dog, walk the feet forwards this time to fold towards the front of your mat. And as we roll all the way up to standing, reach up tall through the crown of the head in your mountain pose. Take a big breath, reaching the arms wide and high. And then palms floating together at the heart. Keep them here as we walk our feet out to 10 and 2. Turn the toes and bend the knees. Come to sit back in a kind of squat, but we're lifted much further away from the ground here. So keeping in mind our knees rolling outward. Can we lower a little bit more? Can we lower a little bit more? Maybe a little bit more. Wherever you are, find 3 more breaths. We're not coming all the way down to the ground just yet. After your third and final exhale, lower, lower, lower. And then lengthen the legs, fold forward. Whoo. Planting the palms, step straight back to your downward facing dog or tabletop position, and we'll transition. Left leg floats off. Bend the knee, curl it all the way up and step forward. Rise straight to your warrior two, planting both feet, reach through the arms. Take a couple breaths here, awareness in both legs. And as we lengthen our front leg, left toes come over to the right side. Find that wide-legged position, but this time turn the toes out to 10 and 2. So mindful that we're not in a ballet plie position, both toes turning completely opposite ways, because that'll make it a little bit more challenging to balance. So as our toes come to that 10 and 2 position, inhale, reach arms up to the sky, big breath. Exhale, bend the elbows and the knees. Sit back, lower into your goddess pose with cactus arms. Pay attention to your breath. Either stay exactly where you are or begin to peel one heel and then the other off the mat. And we can alternate sides or lift both heels at the same time. Maybe we sit back a little lower. Don't let the knees roll in, keep them pressing away. We'll stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lengthen. Well done, everyone. Pivot back to your warrior two, facing forward. Rolling hands down to the ground, step back to tabletop or downward dog. Take a full breath here. And as we float right leg off the mat, bend the knee, curl it all the way up, step it forwards. Rising straight to Virabhadrasana 2. And as we lengthen front leg, turn the toes out to the left side, and then find your 10 and 2 position. Reaching arms all the way up, take a big breath. Exhale, knees bend, elbows bend. Sit into goddess with cactus arms. Breathe here. Notice how the pace of your breath may have changed. Has your heart rate altered? Maybe you're noticing you're getting a little bit warmer. Just pay attention to the changes in our body as we move through our practice. Either stay here in stillness or begin to alternate, lifting one heel then the other. Or maybe we lift both heels. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nice. Pivot forward back to your warrior two. And then cartwheel hands down to the ground and step back to either downward dog or child's pose. If you're in down dog, just find a few more breaths here. Take whatever movement you need. And then begin to soften. And we'll meet here in child's pose. Start to slow things down. Let your breath settle. Slowly rise up. And scoop the legs out in front of you. We have the option of lifting a little higher here onto one of our props and really shuffling our weight towards the front of our prop if we do. So that's almost as if we're about to fall off, but not quite. This helps us to get that nice length in the pelvic space. So as our legs extend, keep them about hips width apart so we have space for our sacrum. And find a bend in the knees, as generous as feels good for you today. As we lift up nice and tall, hinge from the hips. Belly comes towards the thighs, spine stays long. Find your forward fold, seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Toes stay actively flexing up towards the face. Can we maybe close our eyes down in this posture? Pay attention more to sensation than shape. Find one more breath, just opening out the whole back chain of the body. And then as you rise up, roll the shoulders back a couple times and cross your right leg on top of the left. So the ankle comes to the thigh. If it doesn't reach, maybe it comes to the shin, that's okay. From here, find our little leg baby cradling with both arms as we send our leg from side to side, forwards and back, just rocking here. Sending lots of love to the hip space, the glutes. Next time we roll forward, stay there. Find one more breath. And then rising up as we extend that leg out, give it a wiggle. And then come to bend the left leg up and in. Same thing here, find your little leg baby and begin to swing it from side to side, forward, back. And the next time you come forward, stay there. As you rise up, left leg extends, give it a wiggle. And come to find your final posture here for our meditation practice. You know the drill by now, you can be seated, lying down, and it can change from day to day. So take what you need right now. Begin to settle into stillness and become aware of your natural breath in your chosen posture. Observe any distractions around you or within you, and practice non-attachment to thoughts, sensations, or sounds. For today's practice, we open our arms to someone else. So to begin, bring to mind a person in your life, perhaps a friend, family member, colleague, or even a more challenging person, someone who pushes your buttons. Picture them clearly in your mind's eye. What do they look like as they stand in front of you? Remember, this person is a fellow human being, just like you. And now, one by one, I invite you to whisper the following phrases in your mind or out loud whilst visualizing this person. Whether you feel resistance or not, still send out these wishes and be with whatever emotions arise. This person has a body and a mind just like me. This person has feelings, emotions, and thoughts just like me. This person has experienced physical and emotional pain and suffering just like me. This person has felt sadness, disappointment, anger, and hurt, just like me. This person has worried and felt frightened, just like me. This person is learning about life, just like me. This person wishes to be safe and healthy, just like me. This person wishes to be happy and loved, just like me. I wish for fulfillment in life for this person. Because this person is a fellow human being, just like me. Continue to rest for a few more moments, listening to what's here and opening yourself to receive it. And when you're ready, find one last conscious breath and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. As we bow head to heart, offer yourself thanks. From my heart to yours, Namaste.